All right, good Friday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. This morning, we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can see my young guest here. He is a candidate for sheriff in Haralson County. His name's John Daniel, and we're going to talk about his campaign during this program over the next half hour. Remember, Election Day is May 21st in Haralson County, too. Not just in Carroll County, and it's a 3-week early voting period. And I think there's just one place to vote early in Haralson County, right?
That's correct. At the courthouse, I believe they're offering a Saturday, maybe 2 Saturdays. I'd have to check.
Probably the first 2 Saturdays is typically there. So again, John Daniel running for sheriff of Haralson County. Well, give us your background, John. I mean, you've had a few jobs that I'm aware of over the last few years that you've been part of, related to law enforcement. But go ahead and give us your background and talk about your family a little bit too.
Well, I've been pretty blessed. I have held some positions, and it's all just kind of fell in the right place at the right time, so to speak. But of course, a Haralson County resident, and when I was working at the Piggly Wiggly as a bag boy, I knew my career path was going to go into law enforcement, and so I chose to go with the State Patrol, and I worked there as a dispatcher, and then went to the 88 Trooper School in Forsyth, which is a 32-week-long academy, and completed that course and was assigned to the Cartersville post, which at the time covered Bartow and Paulding County. It was the second busiest post in the state. And I worked the road there for a while, transferred into Cedartown, which put me back working at home in Haralson. And then they built the Paulding post. Shortly thereafter, started doing safety education and recruiting for all of Northwest Georgia, was given that position. And then I got picked up to go to the governor's detail, which is the plainclothes division. And I did that for Governor Deal, and then when the Kemps got elected, they kept me on board, and I worked with them until we had our first child, and that whole program there was 7 days on, 7 days off. So for 7 days, as far as being a husband and a dad, you're pretty much non-existent. So at that point, I started trying to look to find something that would put me back at home. Great detail. Absolutely loved it, working with the governor. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and they were advertising the transportation director position for Haralson County Schools. So I was like, well, I could get in there and figure that out, and that'll get me back close to home. So I applied and received that position, and then it came with a little bit of extra because I was over school or safety education for the patrol in Northwest Georgia. I was asked to also take on as the school safety director and oversee our plans, make sure they meet the state guidelines, that they're up to par, that everybody's meeting, and we go over the plan. So I started overseeing that as well back in 2019.
And now it's actually police chief.
Yes, sir. So
couple of years, schools district.
Yes, sir. A couple of years rolled by, and I was inquired, which we were coming off the heels of like the Parkland, Florida shooting and a couple of others, and then this was right before Uvalde. So it always remained a topic. And school police I had seen starting to grow throughout the state, and it was inquired what it would look like to have our own. So I started trying to put it together, and I actually brought Kendall Holderfield on board with me to kind of just an extra law enforcement mind to kind of start figuring things out of what it would look like. And we put that together and implemented it. And we started out with 5 officers, and then Uvalde happened, and of course the board followed back up and said we want an officer to make sure that we're covered at all times. So we grew that department, and now we have an officer at each school, 2 at the high school, which one of them is a K-9 handler, and he kind of can float that way if he's needed, and he's kind of been used by the other agencies around there, the county and the cities, if they need a K-9. So we try to work hand in hand with them as well.
We could talk. I mean, I could talk to you about better understanding the jurisdiction of that position and everything. That's for another show, though. But we've talked about that a little bit previous,
right?
And it is interesting. And you do have the unique in this conversation. I mean, I'll feel comfortable talking to you about being about the Board of Commissioners
yes, sir.
Ideas, as you are on the Board of Commissioners right now, and as the Board of Education, or some school stuff too. I did look up. Earlier this morning, I had a conversation with Jerry Bell, I think in 2000, and just asked how that position was going to be paid, the police chief.
Right.
And at that point, he said it's the federal funds, and it was coming from the COVID money.
Right.
Is that Do you know how that's going to be paid for in the future? Is that going to be, is that going to be something that's in the budget, or is this department in danger?
It's definitely within the budget now. At first, there was a lot of federal and state money, and there is still a ton of state money that gets thrown at school safety every single year. Federal money, it's relatively easy to go and get, but like any business, there was kind of remanaged and restructured to make sure that the school police would fit, and so we created those positions. It's now part of our current budget.
Okay.
And so like my position, and it's been some of the topics that were out there, and I'll just go ahead and hit it since we're on it. Whenever I was hired in as the transportation director and then the school safety director, as far as overseeing the plans and all was thrown on there, I was given a $10,000 pay supplement for that on top of my pay. But then when the school police was developed, I didn't take any pay increase from what I was making back in from the original plan in 2019. Now I've got the state raises that the governors give throughout the past couple of years, and then our step raises for years of service. But nothing extra was ever given, so it's kind of a benefit to the people too. But I enjoy it. I've got kids in the district. A lot of my guys got kids in the district, so it's a little something to give back, but we also are able to kind of keep our thumb on the safety aspect of the school and keep control of that day in and day out. So there's a little bit of peace of mind that overrides what a paycheck could at the end of the day.
Time right now is 8:36. My guest is John Daniel, candidate for sheriff in Haralson County. And I do want to give you a whole segment and talk about, your reason for running, but, the brain's working now. And we did talk a little bit about this prior to the show. You are still on the Haralson County Board of Commissioners, and I was surprised to see that this week when I saw it. I saw the video stream. And you're also the police chief, and I can see why that's not are you able to keep that job, police chief, throughout? I mean, is there a time where you need to step away from that job to run for sheriff? Or is there a time you need to step down from being on the Board of Commissioners to run for sheriff?
No, so the school district, of course, it's its own topic in and of itself, but they levy their own tax, and they're their own government entity, separate from the Board of Commissioners. So it's two separate governing bodies. So I'll be able to maintain those. If we're successful and win this election, then of course by the end of the year I would have to resign those and then take on the new role of sheriff. As far as being a commissioner, I'm allowed to stay in that role because of the Constitution in Article 2. It says that as long as the terms run concurrent or end at the same time, allows you to stay in that same role, which mine and the sheriff's does. It ends December 31st of this year. But as long as there's not an overlap of more than 30 days, then you don't have to step down from that role. So right now I just keep working.
Do you need to recuse yourself from any vote that would be involved as sheriff over the next 6, 7, 8 months? Is it ethical or is it mandatory for you to do that?
Not under the legal advisement that I've got from the county attorney. Like I was telling you before the show, before I ever chose to run, I made sure legally that it was okay to do so. And he gave me all the legal wording for it all and the state laws and, of course, that section of the Constitution that allows it to take place. But as of right now, I don't know of anything that would be a direct conflict.
Time right now is 8:39. My guest is John Daniel, again, candidate for sheriff in Haralson County. We'll take our first break. Again, if you're watching on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, I encourage you to post any questions or comments that you have up there, and I'll try to take a look during this break. And then I'll check at the final break. Otherwise, you're stuck with the questions and the answers we have. Community Voice is brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
The Entrepreneur Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined curriculum-based track to acquire essential knowledge and skills for success in business and leadership. Critical areas include identifying entrepreneurial characteristics, selecting a value position, and business model development. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
841, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest is John Daniel. He is running for sheriff in Haralson County, lifelong public service, worked for the State Patrol, and currently is the police chief for the Haralson County Schools District. And so the question here is, to leave that, why are you running? Why do you want to be the sheriff?
So being on the commission board and then, of course, over 15 years, or right at 15 years of law enforcement experience, already had the law enforcement knowledge going in, but being a commissioner has allowed me to understand the government working side of it, how we get our money, why you're only allowed or allotted this amount of money to operate. And through being there over the past, getting right at 3.5 years now, I've been able to see that budget, and it comes in and we work through it as a board, and it's a rather lengthy process. We'll meet for days at a time to discuss it. But we've set a budget. Like when I first come in, that sheriff's budget was $4 million. And I say sheriff's budget, that includes each department, the sheriff's office, the jail, the special operations as far as like your drug task force, and then, of course, your court services. And, again, it was at $4 million. And then this past budget cycle, we set it at right around $5.45 million. And over that course of time, there's been an additional overspending of that budget by about $1.5 million. So that was one reason, is just the overspending of it. And even this last time we talked about if we ever had to raise taxes, of course, people don't want that. And just ways we could try to work through it. And I started kind of sitting back and looking at it with my law enforcement background, and how could this be better? Could it be ran differently? And each candidate, ultimately, and this is what I was telling somebody the other day, you got 3 candidates running, and you're ultimately just buying into their ideas, if that's what you think would suit the county best. And we all have great ideas. Everyone has law enforcement experience, but I'm coming with my ideas of what I think would work. And ultimately, I'd like to I think that the department's top heavy right now, and I'd like to restructure it. We used to run 4 and 5 deputies per shift, and now we're running 3 deputies per shift, and then we have all this overspending. But whenever you're only running 3 deputies and the amount of calls they're getting, you're going into overtime, which is obviously going to cost you more money right off of the bat. In the 3 deputies per shift, I found out about back in October. We was having a commission meeting because we were discussing the community support program or crisis program through Your Haven, and the sheriff's office presented and said that they have 3 deputies per shift. We're given the ratio of how many calls they're answering, and I was like, wow, 3 deputies per shift, and we got right at 30,000 people in 283 square miles. So it's just been compounding issues that I've seen, and I'm like, well, maybe I could do something differently to correct that.
Is that just a lack of being able to hire employees? I mean, it's
no. I mean, just it got restructured. There's some more positions higher up than there ever was, which took away from the road, and obviously is going to tie up more money the higher up you move. And I just think that it needs to be restructured and put that money back down to the guys on the road who are out there working hard every day, and get them back where they need to be. So the way I've currently drafted it up, we could move back to about 6 to 7 deputies per shift, just by cutting out some of the high-ranking positions.
I was trying to. Thomas Georgian did an interview with Stacey Williams, I want to say back in November or December, and I thought I had his response to that as far as where those increases went.
A lot of it
was due to the effects of COVID-19, inflation, increase in fuel prices as well. But he, I mean, is this not, in 12 years I've been here, is this not the most successful maybe sheriff's office out of Haralson County that we've had? Or, is it not doing more with possibly, well, I don't want to say less if more money's being spent, but are they not doing more for the county or for the citizens at this point?
I believe as far as more, I believe you're just your access to knowing what's going on through social media.
And that's possible because the previous communications director before Stacey was rubbish. So that is possible.
Right.
But, yeah.
So you see more through social media, and which is great. It's a great asset to use. It gets what's going on out there to the community and allows them to see things that are happening. But you can also just put a lot of good out there, and then on the back end of the deal, these things are happening that I've been able to see. and you don't really notice it. But I think things are always going to get better. Anytime you put a new face with something and ideas, like I said, you got 3 candidates, you're going to get something good out of it. But in this case, as far as the money side of it, money's hard for everyone. I mean, inflation, like you said, is difficult, and we have to take that into account when we set these budgets, and cost of doing business goes up. And, of course, we keep all that in mind when we're setting these and try to give it a dollar amount that will work.
Allison Palmer's county clerk had sent the budget over to me about last year's budget anyway. Yeah. $20,084,000.
Right.
That's about what it was. And public safety is half of that, but that does include fire, E911, right, all that other stuff. And the sheriff's is about 25% of that, and that's been consistent over the last 5 years with the budget.
You're going to see that probably about anywhere, because that's one of your largest budgets, probably next to fire, one of your largest agencies as well. So you're talking about cars and manpower, and of course they have the jail, inmate medical, and food. So there's a lot of costs that exist with running the sheriff's office, for sure.
Now, anybody who does come talking about the budget and stuff, and the one thing they say is, I've got to do this at home. I've got to maintain this budget
right
at home. Because taxpayers see that.
Right.
I mean, have you ever filed a bankruptcy? Have you been delinquent on a loan? Have you done anything like that?
No, sir.
That gives you the credibility to say, hey, we're gonna stick to a budget in the sheriff's office.
Yeah, I mean, sitting here running a budget for the county, of course I have a home budget, and you have to make adjustments. That's just the hard part of life, and the same thing has to happen at the sheriff's office. Is there's certain areas where you could save or cut, and I know you could always look at different programs as far as outreach and stuff like that you can get. And of course there's grants that still exist, and other fundings that you're able to go and get, which takes that burden down. The SPLOST is still there, so you can utilize SPLOST, which still comes from the taxpayer, but at least comes from everyone, even if they're traveling through.
Well, when you go after this budget, are you going after how much he's asking to spend every year, or the fact that it just ends up going over more initially? Because, I mean, you're talking about getting more deputies deputies working. I mean, are there other things that you got to take out of a future budget to maintain that?
No, that can strictly come from restructuring, like I was talking about, cutting down some of the higher ranking positions, and then you take that larger salary and roll it back down to the deputies and the jailers, and increase those positions, and you're able to expand that out to create those spots.
Are there any other community outreach programs that are not being done right now that you could see the sheriff's office being part of?
There's some. I heard of one out of Gordon County that they utilize. I believe Polk has also went on board with it, and it's the Are You OK hotline, and it's for your senior citizens, and you can basically sign up for that, and it does. It gives you a notification through a system where you can check on them, and you just call, hey, are you okay? If you don't get responses, then there's steps to follow up with them and make sure they're okay. Because we do have a lot of elderly that live alone, and other family members have either moved off or passed away. So I believe that would be a good program to at least entertain, because our goal in public safety and just in general is to protect and take care of our own, so to speak. So,
have you already chosen a chief deputy, somebody who would run with you? And who is that? What's his background?
That's Kendall Holderfield. He's currently my captain and the K-9 handler for the school police department. He got his start back when Gary Folsom was the county marshal, and that was back when the marshal kind of overseen the marshal side of the business and animal control. So he was able to cut his teeth in that aspect, and that's where he went and got certified as a law enforcement officer. And then his career moved over to Tallapoosa under Chief Worthy, and he worked over there, I think right around 11 years as a patrol officer and a sergeant there, both either on days or nights.
Before we take our second break, do you have any campaign stops or any kind of events coming up?
We had a meet and greet. We've, of course, got the Brementown Festival Saturday, and then next Saturday is the Buckhannon Spring Fest, so we'll be participating in those, and then from there, we're in the middle of early voting at that point, right after the last parade.
A week after tomorrow, or a week after Monday, this coming Monday, right? A week from.
And from there, we'll just wait on Election Day and keep working hard and meeting as many people as we can to earn their vote.
John Daniel, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, one of 3 candidates for Haralson County Sheriff. I did reach out to Wade probably about 3 weeks ago, the number that I have of his, and it went to voicemail, but the voicemail wasn't set up, Wade, so I couldn't leave a voice message. But, yeah, if you're watching this morning, please, reach out to me. We'll try and get you on the program as well.
Somebody can tag him.
Yeah. All right, Community Voice is brought to you by Tanner Health System. Come back with about 9 minutes here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating over 61 years. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us on the mountain to see our mission and vision in action. Academic excellence, a faith-based environment, and dynamic opportunities are just a few of the reasons our families choose Oak Mountain Academy. Academic scholarships and tuition assistance are available. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
851, welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. We are streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. This morning we're on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. My name is Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is John Daniel. He is running for sheriff in Haralson County. And again, 1 week from this Monday is when early voting starts. It's a 3-week period. It'll be in Haralson County. It's at the courthouse, right?
That's correct.
Hey, the commissioners have any discussion about, I want to say this in the last 4 years, I heard it a couple times about maybe saving money or raising money to do something to the courthouse? Has that been a discussion?
There's been constant work that's took place out there. I mean, it's an older courthouse, so there's been
because there's been improvements, right?
Yeah,
cleaned up a little bit.
They've done some landscape work out there, of course, painting, new tiles and lighting. We've done some upgrades to the camera systems in there so that you can do more of a web-based kind of.
But there's nothing in the budget where there's money being saved for that to fix that or start a new courthouse or anything like that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Again, this is like 4 years ago. I remember the conversation, and I don't even remember where it came from. We did talk a little bit about like the COVID relief funds, and the county got some of that too. So did you have say in where that money went?
Well, I mean, the good thing too, and this kind of goes back as far as if there was any conflicts. There's other commissioners that serve on that board. So it can't just take one person to make a change. We all have to. There at least has to be 3 of us that agree. But we did utilize a lot of the federal money that come in. We've bought a couple fire trucks, bought a few patrol cars for the sheriff's department. We did buy an ambulance. We've bought some equipment for our county road department. We've done some upgrades at the recreation department, and then we've also, of course, expanded out our rural broadband. Which is all being done by Crossbeam, which is the Carroll MC and Sync Global partnership, which has been really great. I see people posting about it all the time, and
because they can.
Yeah, they've got internet access to do so, and some of that too is also what led to moving into this sheriff's race. Is I ran on a few items. Of course, the landfill being the biggest one, and we were successful against defeating that. And then rural broadband was one of my topics, and we have Crossbeam in our area that's building out that infrastructure to serve Haralson County. I ran on, completing the recreation side of it. We're currently grading out where the other 4 fields would go. We added the pickleball course. I can't remember how many courts that is, but
there won't be enough.
It's rather large, and it's growing. So everything that I had ran on, and even public safety, and like I said, we've done the fire trucks. We've increased those budgets year after year. We bought patrol cars, ambulances. So everything that I ran on, I've kept my word on and seen that through. And like I said, of course, beating that landfill was our biggest obstacle.
The chairman was on the show, I guess about a month ago, with Eric from Greater Haralson Chamber, and they did talk about that purchase a little bit. And I don't remember if I I mean, he just said, "Yeah, we're fine financially." Did COVID funds pay for that landfill?
It came from a few different pools of money. The exact coding and name of them, I'd have to ask Don. He's our finance officer. But there was some from ARPA and other COVID monies that was out there. May have even been some from SPLOST and reserves to try to get that going, because we would have continued with a long legal battle, and the benefit to the county was to get out from under that and get that property, stop the landfill from moving in there. And now, so to speak, we have oceanfront property there on I-20 where if there's any industry that really is beneficial to our county can move in, and what they pay per acre, if you could sell just the front 200, we would make our money back plus some. So the benefit, long-term benefits now exist because of us getting out of that deal.
And I'm piggybacking, I'm picking things out that you say and kind of piggybacking on that, but you talked about SPLOST. If you were sheriff and the SPLOST is presented to voters again, a proposal and a certain amount of money in the next one, what would you hope to see for the sheriff's department?
Definitely continue to get on some type of vehicle replacement program. And
it can't pay for personnel, right? The SPLOST, the T-SPLOST, the transportation special purpose.
Yeah,
that can't pay.
That goes for roads.
Roads,
and,
okay, yeah.
So try to always maintain a vehicle fleet because you're using them. Their wear and tear is going to always be there because you're traveling around the county. Hopefully, by increasing the amount of deputies we have on the road, you cut down on the amount of miles they've got to travel instead of bouncing all four corners. But continue to use that SPLOST to get vehicles, some equipment that you may need. And ultimately, at the end of the day, as our county continues to grow, in which it will, a lot of people that I meet campaigning are from other surrounding counties. And crime will always continue to exist. It has since the beginning of time, so to speak. We'll eventually have to look into jail build outs as far as either adding on or building a new one, but at least lay some kind of a comprehensive plan down so that we can continue to grow as the county grows.
We got 2 minutes left in this show. Is there something you can take positive from the last 4 years as Stacey Williams being sheriff? I mean, whether you're even comparing it to the previous 4 years or the state of the department now.
Yeah. And again, my race isn't anything personal. Think the world of Stacey and his people there. He's got a lot of guys that I grew up working the road with.
I think so, yeah.
And he has done some good things, and I'm not going to take that from him. Being proactive, getting out on social media, I think was a great move. It lets people know the transparency exists. He's hired in some folks that are really smart and have done a good job. Allowing the deputies to get out and work a little bit is good because it's always going to serve its benefit if you see patrol cars out and about. So I'm not going to take that away and demean anyone. This is strictly my merit, their merit, and the business side of the operations is why this campaign exists. But again, at the end of the day, you're picking the candidate that you like best, and I'm just hoping that my work history, who I am, what I've done, is convincing enough for the people to elect me to that role to be allowed to serve them. And me being younger has even been brought up, but I'm not someone that's going to get in there, get a couple of years, and then retire, and then you're starting over with a whole new plan. I hope to get in there, serve for the foreseeable future, put some plans in place, put a comprehensive plan so that when somebody else takes over, they pick up where we left off and continue to move forward. I've got young kids, and we've got to take care of home and protect home. And I plan on being here for quite some time.
Literally have like 10 seconds. JohnDaniel4Sheriff.com is your website. Yeah. Is there contact information on that page?
It is. Reach out to me and visit the website, please.
Thanks for coming on, John.
Thank you.
Again, early voting starts 1 week from Monday. So go out there and do your duty. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System. Have a great weekend, everybody.